activities with almost no talking. The case I'm talking about tonight is that of Danielle Johnson. This is a very recent case of an astrology influencer who murdered her 8-month-old child and stabbed her partner to death in a panic that is said to have been caused by the recent solar eclipse that happened in America. And I will go through her Twitter X profile and we'll look at her bizarre beliefs. And for the relaxing footage, I am going to do some sketching. Don't expect anything good, it's just for the noise that the pen makes and the hand movements to help you fall asleep. So if this combination sounds good to you, please subscribe to my channel before the rest of the video. Thank you. So, Danielle Johnson. She was 34 years old. She was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, but she had been living in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles at the time of this crime and her death. She was married to another man, but they had separated, and she was with this man named Cheney for about 3 years, and they were living together, and she had an 8-month-old baby with him. She also had another daughter. She was 9 years old. Danielle went online by the name Ayoka, Ayoka, and the ID My Stick X Lipstick on X. She also said that she was an R&B recording artist, and she was an astrologer, and she would offer self-help and healing sessions for a fee. Let's go through her Twitter account together before I tell you the things that she's done. So this is her pinned comment post, It's from April 5th, and it says, wake up, the apocalypse is here. Everyone who has ears, listen. Your time to choose what you believe is now. If you believe a new world is possible for the people, RT now. There is power in choice. There is power in choice. Repost to make the choice for the certainly did not work for her. Yeah, with this gift of, is it a Jeff or a gift? Jeff, whatever, of Ariana Grande. Yes, Queen. The other one again is with candles and some demonic ritual of some sort. And it says our spell results are here. You guys are already seeing changes in yourself, home life and career opportunities, so yay. The auras on the flames were spectacular. I knew we would get pretty great results. The auras. Okay, another gift. Oh dear Lord. So again, she would get paid to do spells for other people. She's had quite a long following. Quite a big following, I mean. Some other witchy stuff. Here you can see a post from January 13 of this year. It says New Year, new relief flash spell is here. What does that even mean? We'll never know. We are using the Capricorn new moon to strengthen our foundation and good karma, to bring in rest, support, and rewards for the work we put into 2023. What was her good work? These spells that we're supposed to bring all of these things to the next year. Well, in this year, 2024, we can see she continued on doing this stuff up to the time she learned about the solar eclipse, and that, I think, was the breaking point. She completely things she reposted on that day is this one that says Jewish-owned Hollywood is promoting pedophilia. It's not art, it's pedophilia. I'm gonna click on this and read what she says. So recently, Emma Stone won Best Actress for her lead role in the movie Poor Things. This is a movie about a little girl who puts into the body of a grown woman and then prostitutes herself. So it's a movie about babies being prostituted effectively. That's what the Oscars are excited about. It's got all these nominations and then Emma Stone wins Best Actress. There's also a scene in the movie when it is filmed and played at film festivals, and it depicted a man, a father, bringing his two young boys to a brothel to watch him have intercourse with the baby in the grown woman's body. And again, why is everyone like clapping for it at the Oscars? It goes on to talk about how when Emma Stone thanks her husband and her little children, that it's really weird thinking about what this movie was about and her thanking her toddler for making this movie. That is really weird. All of these things about Hollywood is weird. But I don't get again how all of this comes together and it makes this person think that she needs to do something, and she's doing this weird witchy rituals thinking she's changing stuff, and in the end loses her mind completely and thinks that she needs to kill everyone and herself. I don't get how these connections are made, and that is why I'm still alive and not in prison. On April 8, 2024, around 3:40 a.m., Danielle stabbed her boyfriend, Cheney, in the heart as he was on the couch. miles per hour on Pacific Coast Highway near Vincent Street. The driver, who was pronounced dead at the scene, suffered massive injuries that made her identification difficult. 2 hours later, police arrived at Danielle's apartment after a neighbor reported finding Cheney stabbed to death. Cheney served in the Air Force as recently as 2020, according to the news. One source told the news that Cheney and Johnson lived together for more than 3 years. Danielle appeared to be in the midst of a divorce involving a past partner. Johnson posted a photo on X in May 2023 of a teardrop diamond ring on her. When a Taurus man spoils you, the photo was flooded with congratulatory comments, and she answered, "Yes, when it works, it works." Well, it really didn't. A year later, less than a year later, she ended up stabbing him, killing herself and her child. How did that happen? I have no idea, but my guess would be a very weak mind that got into the things that she had no understanding of, no control of, and she lost herself in it. She lost herself in fear and in witchcraft, I think. As with the last video, with the last case I talked about, my guess, people are yelling outside, my guess, as usual, is demonic possession. You cannot convince me otherwise that this woman, I don't know, I just cannot fathom how people can be this stupid. And stupid people are dangerous, very dangerous. And Danielle Johnson is a very nemune about us. Okay, let's see. In the news they talked about how it could have been postpartum depression, as she had an 8-month-old. Idaho students in 2022 plan to use cell phone tower data to show he was not at the location where the murders occurred, according to a new court filing. Why wouldn't have they provided this information sooner? Because they've been asking for it for months. The prosecution and the judge has given the defense and Kohberger a deadline on giving his alibi, and this is what he gave. But if they think they have an exculpatory evidence with the cell phone data, why haven't they provided it any sooner? And maybe they could get him out and he didn't have to stay in jail for over a year. So keep that in mind. Kohberger is accused of killing Madison Morgan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in mid-November 2022 at a home in Moscow, Idaho, where the university is located. The home has since been demolished. I don't think I have ever said any other names. As many times I have said these 4 people's names in the last year. You may not have heard me say them before because I have deleted my other videos that I had made previously on this case, which is a shame. But it's alright. There has not been much updated in this case, and I don't think it is gonna be resolved anytime soon. stated that they had found cell tower data from that morning which showed Kohberger's phone in Pullman, where he lived, around 2:47 a.m. the night of the murders, at which point it suddenly stopped connecting to the cell tower. It was around this time surveillance video saw his car leave his apartment. That is reported from this other side. Could be wrong, I don't know. 2 hours after his phone disappeared from the network, it reappeared south of Moscow and headed back toward Pullman. At the time of his arrest, about 6 weeks after the murders, so 40 days, they didn't have the murderer in custody. Kohberger was a PhD criminology student and teaching assistant at Washington State University's Pullman campus, about a 15 minutes drive from where the murders happened. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' house in Pennsylvania, on the other side of the country. Wednesday's notice of defense alibi also stated more information about Kohberger's location the night of the murders will be provided once the state provides discovery requested, and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. If not disclosed, testimony will also reveal that critical exculpatory evidence further corroborating Mr. Kohberger's alibi was either not preserved or has been withheld. That sounds bonkers. I don't know what much of it means, but what I get sounds like they are trying to blackmail the prosecution. Like, I'll give you his actual alibi if you give us what we want. A fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County, owing to the extensive inflammatory pre-trial publicity, allegations made about Mr. Kohberger to the public by media that will be inadmissible at his trial. The small size of the community, the salacious nature of the alleged crimes, and the severity of the charges Mr. Kohberger faces, attorney Ann Taylor wrote, according to whatever AP is. Latah County's prosecutor opposed the venue change requested. A hearing on the change of venue motion will be held on May 14. Kohberger is charged with 4 counts of murder in the students' stabbing deaths. Kohberger did not respond when asked how he pleaded at his arraignment, so a judge entered not guilty plea for him. Prosecutors have said they will seek the death penalty if Kohberger is convicted. So that is all the update there is on the Idaho versus Kohberger case. I will give you any further updates as they come out. Do let me know what you think about these cases I talked about today. The first one was truly bizarre, and the last one just terrible. I hope they get it over with as soon as possible, because it just needs to be done with. If you have enough evidence against him, just put it on the table and get him the death penalty or get him the life sentence. Why are you doing all these different motions for the past year and a half? I might fall asleep has done for you what it has done for me, which is putting me to